afternoon, everyone. So my name is Robin, and for today's lesson, we will be talking about two-hand playing. So before we start, I'll be giving you guys a short overview of what we'll be tackling today. So first, we have what is two-hand playing. Next, we have the ways of learning songs. And lastly, we have the types of learning materials and how they should be played using both hands. Now, despite this, we will also have things that we won't be covering in this video, and that is one, we have the basics of chords, and second, we have the basics of the piano. And these, in a way, involve terminologies like the whole step, half step, and etc. Now, these are things that may be discussed in a learning video before or a video after this. So next, we also have what we call the word of the day. Now, this is a term that I'll be using a lot in the video. So in this case, we have the word melody. Now, melody refers to a specific tune that is sung or played in a piece or song. An example of this would be the tune or the melody that Ariel sings in The Little Mermaid. So that is what we call a melody. So to formally begin, let us try and discuss what is two-hand playing and what does it mean and what function does it actually have. So two-hand playing in its simplest form refers to playing with both your left and your right hand. But then when you talk about its function and what it's supposed to produce, it's actually different. So when you talk about a right hand is more focused on being able to produce the melodic side of things, or the tunes, or the things that the vocalists actually sing. On the left hand, it's more focused on providing the support, the foundation that tries to tie and bring the song together. Now here, I'll be playing an example of what it sounds like if I play using my right hand and as well as my left hand using the song All of Me by John Legend. So here it goes. So I'll be starting first with my right hand. Next, we have for the left hand. As you can see, when I played with both my left and right hand, they both actually produce very different sounds. But then when you actually play them together, they will actually sound very harmonious and very cohesive to some degree. Now, I'll be playing this again in a future slide, so stay tuned na lang. Next, we have the ways of learning songs. So there are two ways of learning songs. So first, we have the accompaniment way of learning a song. So these are actually usually done in performances. And these may or may not involve learning or playing the actual melody of the song. And the simplest version of accompaniments are usually done in chords. And examples of this are usually in YouTube covers, wherein we have the vocalists who are also the instrumentalists, wherein they sing while playing the piano or the guitar or whatever. Now, in this case, to be able to accentuate or to be able to highlight the power or the beauty in their vocals, they only use the chords so that their vocals will be highlighted more. Now, here's an example using All of Me as well. So in this case, not sure if you guys can hear the comparison from the ones I've played before, but the one that I just recently played, is more similar to my left hand, wherein it's focused on the chords as seen in the accompaniment, wherein the simplest form is usually done in chords. Next, we have the melodical side. So the melodical side is usually done when one wants to learn a piece without singing it. Now, this also applies to me since I don't really sing and I don't really sing well. So usually, in my approach, I would want to learn this one more. So this is really dependent on one's ability to be able to convey the emotions of the song, since you are also holding the chords and the melody in the tune that you're playing inside the piano. So this playing style is more often than not would involve the actual chords and also the melody of the song. Now, what I will be playing next is an example of the melodical way of playing, and as well as what it would sound like if I actually played the left and the right hand together from my slides before. So it would sound like this. There you go. So Lastly, for the bulk of our lesson, we would actually be talking about the types of learning materials and how to play them using both hands. Now, for our first learning material, we have the chord-centric type of learning material. Now, this would involve pieces that only show the lyrics and the chords itself. So an example of this, as shown in the screen, we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and as well as Hello. So to be able to play these is being able to synchronize the lyrics and as well as the chord that is written in the piece. So for example, we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in the first line of the song. So we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with the chords D, D, G, D. So it means we have to play the first D on the first word, which is twinkle. Next, we have the second D on the second twinkle. We have the first G on the word little, and as well as the word, the star on the chord D. So, yeah. Next, we also have the note-centric type of learning. So in a way, this is the more formal, the more systemic or technical way of learning the piano. Because in a way, in this case, you can learn the different terminologies like key signatures, hand placements, the different types of notes, the different types of measures, and etc. So here's an example of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So this is a comparison of what it would look like if you're learning the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star song in note-centric form and as well as the chord-centric form shown here. So next naman, before we try and actually dive in or try to play an actual note-centric type of song, we have to try and learn the basics. Now, the simplest measures usually in a song is usually in 4/4 time. Now, that just means that there are 4 beats in one measure, meaning it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4/4 time or 4 beats in one measure. Now, when you talk about whole note means that we are playing one whole note in one measure that is being played in 4/4 time. So it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for 4 counts. Next, we have half note naman. So for half note, it talks about 2 half notes fitting into one measure. So it would sound like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would go so on and so forth, increasing in number of times. We have the quarter note, 8th note, and the 16th note. Apart from this, we also have the idea of treble clef and the bass clef, and these are actually put in what we call staff, or the one that has 5 lines and 4 spaces. So we have the treble clef, which is usually to be played by your right, and the bass to be played by your left. So next, here's an example of a song. So we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, like I mentioned a while ago. Now, to be able to learn these types of notes, a lot of teachers have resulted into having a lot of mnemonics, a lot of memorization techniques. So one of the most famous ones that we have is learning it using acronyms. So we have here FACE, all cars eat grass, good burritos don't fall apart. These actually refer the first letters, like FACE. These refer to letters in the keys itself. So we have F, which is fa, A, which is la, C, which is do, and mi, which is e. So these are just the same with different acronyms and different placements. So personally, I don't really recommend this type of method, but it is something that's worth trying, especially if it's something that will help you memorize it more. Personally, I prefer to learn by locating where the note do is, or the note C first, and trying to work my way up or down from there. So that's my method. But any would actually do, as long as you will be able to memorize how these actually sound. Now, if you were actually to be able to play and memorize these notes, we can actually start playing, and this is what it would actually sound like when you play it with 2 hands. So here we go. So there you go. Pretty simple, right? So before I end my video, here are just a few tips that I would like you guys to remember. So first, know what you want to learn. Know if you are trying to learn the more accompaniment side that is more heavy on the chords, or if you prefer the melodical side where you want to really play the whole thing, even the tunes. Next, better to be right than to be fast. This just really means that you don't have to try and learn everything in one go. It's more important to slowly learn it and master what you can. It's better to be right and accurate than to be fast, but then you're always wrong. Next, you also have master the basics with your way of teaching, with your way of understanding things. And lastly, we have practice. Practice makes perfect. So that's all for today. Thank you and hope you enjoy your day.